Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. One thing I'm going to say is that if you are into politics is not something you venture into with emotions. It is something you go with your critical thinking because you should be able to know this is right, this is wrong at every point in time, or being able to differentiate when a politician is doing their normal endless campaign that will never pay you anything. Because what happened last year shows how some people actually does not understand something about politics, but they want to confuse themselves that they know so much when they know nothing. They are still crashing out. And to my greatest surprise, that man somehow implicated himself that his name is actually on the list. And MAGAs are actually out there breaking their head, crashing out that why is the list not coming out? Are you not supposed to use your common sense to know that something is actually wrong? And then you won't start asking for the file anymore. You are speaking that we know that your name is on this file. Let's see the file. But you all, see, let me tell you something. Whatever that is going on at this point in time is mad. And some people's name being on the name of people, Pe0ple and all that, it's even crazier. Knowing that this person that you actually voted to be your thing is part of this game. Let's get into this video.
I've seen a lot of videos now from MAGA, a lot, where they are confused. They are angry and frustrated, a bit discombobulated. You can fill in more words. And the crazy thing to me is it is over this Epstein issue. Like they were okay with the rape, they were okay with the pedophilia, Epstein. You know, they're okay with Russia, they're okay, I'll let you fill it in. They're okay with all that. But this Epstein list is like the deal breaker for so many. And I just can't wrap my head around it. I've been trying to do it all day. I'm like, okay, so like, why would this be so important? Obviously, they thought there were going to be a lot of Dems on it. And they were going to stick it to the libs, because, you know, that's like their thing. I will never understand that. Like, I don't want to stick it to anybody. Like, why do they want to stick it to someone? I don't know. What the fuck? Come on. Since Congress and Trump are trying to make sure that this list doesn't get out, obviously there is something on it that is not so good. I think us libs probably already know and are like, oh, no surprise, right? No surprise at all. I don't know what the issue is for MAGA. I don't know. One would think, correct me if I'm wrong, one would think that the fact that he isn't releasing it, the fact that it's not being allowed to be released to the public, and he's part of making sure that that does not happen, one would think that that would make a person go, huh, what's he hiding? I don't know that MAGA's thinking like that. I don't know that they can at this point with all of the indoctrination, brainwashing, everything they've been fed for the last 30 plus years from Fox News. I don't know that they can. But I want them to be able to, because from one human being to another, you know, wake up. Wake up, come out of the fog, help us save the country. And Trump needs to go to prison. He's on the list. No doubt. No doubt. And maybe MAGA being outraged by this will be enough to do something. I don't know. I don't freaking know. I'm not MAGA. What do you think?
The Republicans ran on the deep state. They ran on this idea that somehow the Democrats were the ones who were essaying kids, using baby parts, and all of these ridiculous, nefarious things that they were using, conspiracy theorists and all of that, to win over people's votes, to make them question the Democrats and question the government in general. The Republicans were the ones who used that to their advantage and said that they were going to be the ones to do something about it. When Jeffrey's case came to light and he was arrested again, not mentioning the one that he got away with that sweetheart deal in 2008, the one where he went to jail in 2019, that one, the Republicans tried very hard to emphasize the relationship between Bill Clinton and Jeffrey. They never mentioned anything about Bone Spur's relationship with Jeffrey. And his relationship was not only longer, but closer. Not only did they have private parties together with just them and other ladies in Mar-a-Lago, which has been documented as a place where Ghislaine Maxwell found Jeffrey's victims, there's also reporting coming out where Bone Spurs would write birthday letters to Jeffrey, pretty much emphasizing the commonality of their relationship, which were women, liking them a little on the younger side. Now, the Republicans didn't say anything about that, but they want you to think they care about the children, about the victims involved, but they don't actually want to prosecute the people who hurt them, at least not their deity. Democrats have been trying for days, weeks at this point, to force Pam Bondi to release whatever files that they have. Pam Bondi claimed that there was no client list, but Democrats are demanding the release to whatever files they have to the public. The same thing that the Republicans ran on in the election. They wanted to release the files to the public to expose all of the billionaire Democrats. Well, Republicans, now's your chance. What happened? You could expose all of those Democrats that you told them were in the list, but now you don't want to do it? The Republicans in the House and the Senate have gone against the Democrats, blocking them on 3 separate occasions when it comes to exposing who is on this list, the list that supposedly no longer exists. Not only that, but Senator Ro Khanna of California tried to introduce an amendment to this genius bill that just passed, and that's going to be a whole nother video, saying that Pam Bondi had to retain, preserve, and compile all of the investigation information that they had on the Jeffrey case and put it on a website that is publicly accessible. Had that amendment passed, she would have had to do that within 30 days of the genius bill passing. Well, the House Rules Committee voted it down. The House Rules Committee is controlled by Republicans. There was only one Republican, Ralph Norman of South Carolina, that voted with the Democrats to put that amendment in there. The rest of the Republicans voted it down. So it was a 5-7 vote, voting down that amendment. What are you hiding, Republicans? Why don't you want the information out there all of a sudden? Is this not what you ran on? Did you not want to expose the Democrats? Or were you just full of it the entire time, knowing good and well that you could trick your base into thinking that they were getting something that you knew you weren't going to give them? And my question is, why wouldn't you give it to them? The Democrats are asking for it, and you swore out that the Democrats were on the list. Wonder who's really on the list? Self-preservation much? Now, this is a part of the story I think is extremely interesting, because we all know from the 4 indictments before Bone Spurs became president again, that he is the king of delay. The king of any type of delay tactic that he can use to his advantage. Now, he had a chance to delay this whole proceeding, but instead of doing that, he decided that he wanted Pam Bondi to just squash it. Come out with this idea that there was no foul play in Jeffrey's demise, and there was no client list to speak of. Even though, as we all know, in February, Pam Bondi said that the client list, specifically speaking about the client list, was sitting on her desk waiting for review. Now, Bone Spurs had a chance to delay this, and we all know that if he gets a chance to delay, he will delay. But not this time. He had a chance to appoint a special prosecutor. Now, this special prosecutor was recommended and advocated for by Steve Bannon, Lauren Boebert, and even Laura Loomer. These people are MAGA sycophants to the max, and they wanted a special prosecutor. They were like, look, just appoint a special prosecutor. They actually think he didn't do anything. They have to, because that would be the only way that he would actually appoint a special prosecutor, because a special prosecutor is way too risky. Because even if it is appointed by his DOJ, the special prosecutor is independent of not only the DOJ, but the White House. They have carte blanche to investigate what they want within the limits that the DOJ sets. However, people want to know about the list and about the unaliving. 2 things in which Bone Spurs may be able to be implicated if the special prosecutor gets his hands on all the evidence, not the doctored footage from Adobe Premiere Pro from 2 separate sources that I did a video on. The special prosecutor would have access to Ghislaine Maxwell and what she knows in that investigation, as well as any files or previous investigation information that they had on Jeffrey to begin with. The special prosecutor would have access to all of those things. Now, the delay tactic would be that the investigation would take years. And during that time, Bone Spurs could just tell the base, hey, they're investigating it. It's just taking a while, but we're going to get them. Those darn radical left Democrats are not going to get away with it. They could do that. And it probably would have been a better political move for them to actually make that happen. However, he would never do that, because if the special prosecutor found something in all of the things that they are investigating, then the special prosecutor would give that information to Congress and could recommend that they impeach and convict over the information found. Now, that is if the investigation finished within Bone Spurs' term. However, more likely, the investigation would conclude after Bone Spurs' term. And there is no guarantee that the Republicans are going to be able to install him for a third term. Oh, they will try, but that is no guarantee. So it's hugely risky. Also, because a lot of the effects of that billionaire's welfare package that they call the Big Beautiful Bill is going to be felt after the midterms and even during the beginning of the next presidency, they were banking on Democrats retaking the House and Senate as well as the White House. So if the prosecutor said impeach and convict, he would be impeached and convicted. At that point, he could be criminally prosecuted. And even if the investigation took to after the presidency, they would just indict him like a normal citizen like they did before. The only difference is they won't take forever this time. And he can't delay indefinitely until he wins the presidency again. And he can't bank on presidential immunity this time because all of those crimes were well before then. At that point, there would be absolutely nothing to save him from his fate. So people who are wondering, why didn't he just appoint a special prosecutor so that he could drag it out and make himself look better when it came to this case? That's why. Because if he were to do that, it is almost guaranteed that he would go to jail because the evidence is more than likely there. And let us not forget, one of the reasons why they had to run that tape through Adobe Premiere Pro from two separate sources is more than likely because Bone Spurs was president on August 10th, 2019. If that orange toddler isn't good at literally anything else, he is a master of self-preservation.
Looks like Trump just admitted he's in those files. See, when you're trying to wiggle your way out of a lie, you can, you're trying to be, give information like you really know. Sometimes you give a little too much. While he was running off at the mouth saying that, Chris Ray was involved and he was trying to name names, he said, we found a lot of fake stuff in there. We found a lot of fake stuff in there about me. Me? He said they found a lot of fake stuff about me. Trump, by his own words, just admitted he's in the Epstein files. Take that and do with it what you will. You can pull up the actual clip. Just go out there, Google, ChatGPT, YouTube it. I bet you everybody that clip has got to be going viral right now. He actually says they found fake stuff about me. Fake about me. It's out there now. That's why the files are not coming out officially. You can rest assured now, MAGA, y'all believe everything he says. He just said it. What are you going to do? Now do you have your answers? Now do you understand why they're not coming out? Now do you understand the 360? I wonder if Charlie Kirk's still going to trust his friends in the White House. I wonder if he's still going to trust the process now that it's out of his own lips. He's in those files. And according to him, it's fake. But come on, y'all. The evidence out there. I wonder what would happen. I wonder what would happen if this was the final straw for those victims. I wonder what would happen if the victims got together and did their own lists and released that. The ultimate slap in their face was to say what happened to them never happened. That was just like the slap in the many people's faces when Alex Jones said Columbine was a hoax. That's basically what he was saying. And he got his butt sued off. These women have actual first-hand account of what took place in the Epstein episodes. And he just discredited every last experience, every last scar those women received, every last nightmare those women have ever had, and every last demeaning act that was did to them as young girls. Never happened. What if those women said enough is enough? There's a saying that's going around social media now saying there wouldn't be a need for a list if the women were believed. There wouldn't be a need for a list if the women were believed. This is not the end by a long shot on this note. I think this was a line that he crossed, that the ramifications are going to be tremendous, put it that way. But anyway, just want you to know, he admitted it. Of course, he called it fake, but out of his own mouth, he said, we found a lot of fake about me. Pull up the clip, guys. It's interesting to see. So, before I get out of here, I just got one question to ask MAGA. Is it great again yet? My friend still nosy, y'all.
Watching MAGA crash out about the Epstein list has been hilarious for a few reasons. One, it's funny watching them realize that they were lied to, right? This was a core campaign promise from Trump saying, oh, we're going to release the Epstein files. And everyone on Twitter was super excited, right? But now he's saying that list doesn't exist. And these people don't want to admit that they were lied to, but it's he thinks you're dumb. He thinks you're dumb or a sucker, right? Both of those are probably true. But anyways, the second reason is he's kind of implicating himself, right? Trump supporters wanted this list released because they thought it would have a bunch of Democrats on the list. But he's implicating that he is on the list because if he wasn't, he just released the list, right? But he's not doing it, which means fill in the blank, right? And I guess the third reason is it's funny because the left wouldn't care if there were Democrats on that list. It's dude, if they're on the list, throw them in jail, right? But the MAGA mind can't comprehend that we don't deify our politicians, right? And if there were Republicans on there, it'd be the whataboutism doesn't work here because it's okay, if they're on it, throw their ass in jail. So it's just funny watching the clogs or the cogs in their brain kind of fight for the brain cell. I don't know.
This Epstein controversy is just really making MAGA lose their shit because they feel like they were being gaslighted by Pam Bondi, who is supposed to release a list. Now there isn't a list. Of course there's a list. And whatever list that we get or get to see or supposedly hear about is going to be heavily, heavily doctored because why share the truth, right? Why share the fact that Dump was on that list? And so Maxwell wants to go ahead, release a list, flight logs, all of that, and force kind of a vote to be able to do that. I think it's fucking ridiculous at this point. Just, can somebody hack it? Somebody hack it and release the list because we're just tired of hearing the same shit. But I love the fact that MAGA is just losing their fucking minds and imploding. It's great to watch. And also for the purposes of engagement, because I love you guys so much. Have a wonderful day and enjoy the chaos.
This is all I got from this video. And I have been, from the onset, I said that I'm not interested in the list because You and I know already the people, even if we do not know the people that are on the list, there is a particular person you should know that is likely on the list or that is on the list, right? And then while people were waiting for the list, the next thing was that there is no list. Let me tell you something. If the people on the list were Democrats, you and I know that that list would have been out a long time ago. So MAGA's crashing out, losing it, and all that shows how much they do not even understand themselves. Just how much they do not even know this person they voted in. Shows how much they also do not understand American politics. Because if you understand American politics, you definitely will know that the list ain't ever coming out, except that list ain't coming out, except it was released by error, or it will be tampered with before they release it. But I want you to know that if anything ever comes out tomorrow and they said that it is the list and one person's name is not there, the list has been tampered. Because, see, I am not a lawyer, right? But we are all supposed to know this. And lawyers in the house also will be able to help us in the comment section, right? Now, there is just like people accusing you that you did something and you have evidence that you did not do it. That evidence is right on your palm. What are you going to do to save your life and everything? You absolutely release it so that people will see that you are innocent. How can you have a whole list from Epstein's and you are not releasing it? Man, it tells a whole lot. It's very loud, you know? You don't even need to be told that there is something wrong. You don't need somebody to tell you that something is going on. So if you see any list tomorrow and there is someone that is not there, forget about it. Something that has something already, it's been taken care of, it's been cleaned up, it's been dusted, because that has always been the game. Politics is actually a den and game. It's only people without horror that plays it. Very horrible. But yeah, let them continue crashing out, because I am not seeing them crash out about the economy. I am not seeing them crash out about the Medicaid. I am not seeing them crash about so many things. About so many things going wrong. They are not crashing out, but they want to die on this particular one. Whatever happens at this point in time, bye for now.